Welcome back to the deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us again. We're really excited to continue exploring these materials.
Absolutely.
And if you are enjoying this content, please do subscribe, maybe leave a comment, share it with others. It really helps us keep going.
It does. And a big thank you and welcome to our new channel members as well.
Yeah.
Your support is, well, it's just fantastic.
It really is. So we are continuing our journey through the Ruhi Institute books.
That's right. The core sequence.
Maybe just a quick recap for anyone new joining us.
Sure. So the Ruhi Institute books, they're essentially a sequence. Books 1 through 14, designed as part of this global effort.
Right.
The aim is really to build capacity, helping youth and adults gain the knowledge, the skills, the spiritual insights needed to serve their communities.
We've touched on Book 1, Reflections on the Life of the Spirit, Book 3 on children's classes.
Exactly. Foundational stuff.
And today we're diving into, well, a really crucial one, Book 5, Releasing the Powers of Junior Youth.
This is where things get very practical, very focused. Book 5 is all about training individuals to become animators.
Animators.
Yeah, that's the term used. They're guides, mentors, working with young people, typically aged 12 to 15.
That junior youth age group.
Precisely. Helping them navigate that really critical transition period, fostering their spiritual and intellectual growth.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive, we're focusing specifically on the first unit of Book 5. Section 1, it's titled Life's Springtime.
And it's interesting how it starts. It doesn't jump straight into, here's what you teach the junior youth.
No, it doesn't. It actually asks the potential animator, who might be a youth themselves, maybe 15 or older, to first really understand the characteristics and, frankly, the high standards expected of them.
It's like, before you guide others, you need a clear vision of the ideal you're striving for yourself and the ideal you hope to help foster. We're reflecting on the future youth we aim to raise, in a sense.
Okay, let's dive into that. The material sets the stage, focusing on that 12 to 15 age range, the junior youth years.
It calls it a special time. They're leaving childhood, undergoing these profound changes, physically, emotionally, intellectually.
But not yet in the fullness of youth, as the text says.
Right. It's a unique in-between stage, full of potential, creativity, but also often, turbulence, self-doubt.
And the goal for the program they might enter is pretty ambitious.
It really is. It's about preparing them to participate effectively in the affairs of their communities, enabling them to express their spiritual and intellectual capacities.
So it's not just about keeping them busy or out of trouble. It sees them as potential contributors right now.
Immediately, it elevates the whole concept of being a young teen. They're not just waiting for adulthood. They have something valuable to offer.
And the text makes a point, doesn't it? That even if you're older, maybe late teens, early 20s, studying this material?
Yes, it's still incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
It forces you to look in the mirror, basically, to examine your own goals, your own priorities, as someone who's meant to be a role model.
A kind of self-assessment before you guide others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that leads right into section 2, which is this powerful exercise in envisioning. It asks, what characteristics do we hope these junior youth will have when they finish the program, when they reach 15? The threshold of maturity.
It's like designing the outcome. What does success look like at age 15?
It's a blueprint, really, not just wishful thinking. And the first prompt, the first question in that blueprint, it's fundamental.
Will they have a high sense of purpose? And what will that purpose be?
Right. Where will their energy be focused? Because, let's face it, a lot of adolescent energy in society today gets channeled into, well, fitting in maybe consumerism, short-term distraction.
Yeah, social media, trends.
Exactly. But a high sense of purpose shifts that focus. It moves them beyond the immediate, the trivial, towards something more lasting.
Something beyond just personal gain.
Towards the betterment of the world,
Yeah.
essentially. It sets a really high bar right away. It contrasts sharply with the societal expectation that these years are just for finding yourself, maybe being a bit aimless before real life starts.
That makes sense. And that focus on ideals, it naturally connects to the next point, doesn't it? Prompt 4, about global awareness.
Yes. How aware should they be of the big challenges facing humanity? Climate change, poverty, injustice.
But it's more than just awareness.
Crucially, yes, it's about conviction. Will they believe in their own agency, that they can actually do something, contribute to making things better.
So it's not just knowing about problems, but feeling empowered to act.
Feeling empowered, yes. And that conviction, that power, it's tied to how they approach learning. This brings us to prompt 5, the posture towards learning.
Ah, this section is fascinating. It's not just about getting good grades.
Not at all. It's about a whole orientation towards knowledge, towards life. It's deeply spiritual and intellectual.
Let's try and unpack those 7 points. They seem really interconnected. First, being studious. Okay, that seems standard.
But then it immediately links that study to reflection on the results of their actions. So learning isn't passive, it informs what they do.
And then an open mind and profound humility. That's huge.
It is. It means being willing to learn, to admit you don't know everything, to be corrected. Those 3 together, studious, reflective, humble, that's already a powerful combination.
And then comes the motivation. An ardent desire to serve humanity.
Right. That desire fuels the next point. A yearning for excellence. If your goal is service, you want to be excellent in what you offer. You're driven to really master things.
Okay, so service drives excellence. What else?
A passion for sciences and arts, appreciating beauty, understanding the world.
But then it balances individual growth with collective progress.
Perfectly put. Deriving joy from your own intellectual and spiritual growth and learning to work for the progress of humanity.
It's not either. It's both. My growth serves the whole.
It's a completely integrated view. And that integration gets tested immediately in the next prompt, prompt 6, on conduct standards.
Yeah, this one really draws a line in the sand. The standard isn't about following global trends and fashions or what's popular in the media.
Absolutely not. It explicitly asks them to follow in the footsteps of those who strive for high moral standards, even when it's difficult, even against challenges.
And it points out that tension, doesn't it? Believing in great ideals, like the oneness of humankind.
But then allowing your actions, your daily choices, to just reflect the norms of society, a society that often falls very short of those ideals.
Like saying one thing, doing another.
That's the core danger highlighted. Aligning your rhetoric with ideals, but your actions with societal comfort or convenience. That's where the real spiritual effort comes in breaking that gap.
It's easier to talk the talk.
Much easier than walking the walk, especially when high standards mean giving up certain comforts or social acceptance.
And then Section 7 pushes this standard even further with the implications of a pure and chaste life. This isn't just about sex, is it?
Not by a long shot. It's presented as a much broader state of being. Detachment, moderation, governing pretty much every aspect of life.
Let's look at that definition. It's quite radical compared to mainstream culture. Beyond just abstaining from extramarital sex, it talks about detachment from trivial pleasures.
Moderation in dress, in speech, in entertainment choices.
Okay, moderation in dress that pushes against fast fashion, constant trend following. Moderation in speech.
Challenges cynicism, negativity, gossip, maybe even the tone often found online.
And the choice of entertainment, what we consume, what we watch, listen to.
It asks for discernment. Does it uplift? Does it degrade? And then there's freedom from jealousy and envy.
Wow. In a world fueled by social media comparison, that's huge.
It strikes right at the heart of it. It demands an internal state, clean-mindedness, purity of thought, genuinely wanting the best for others.
That sounds like constant work, controlling those lower passions, as the text says.
It is constant spiritual exercise. It's not a standard you just achieve and then you're done. It's an active, ongoing effort for inner integrity.
Which logically leads to the final prompt in this section, prompt 8, strengthening their intellectual and spiritual powers.
Yes. This capacity is like their armor, their toolkit. We hope they develop fortitude to overcome challenges.
Resilience to keep going when things get tough.
And that spiritual strength to resist pressures from peers, from society pressures, to act against those high moral standards they've chosen.
So that vision for the 15-year-old, it sets a really high bar.
It does. And it provides the context for part 2, where we start looking at the Baha'i writings that underpin this vision. Section 3 starts with Abdu'l-Bahá on the glorious period of youth.
Right, that quote, "Man's life has its springtime and is endowed with marvelous glory."
He paints it as this incredibly precious time. Strength, vigor, opportunity, the choicest time in human life.
And the aspiration he sets is immense. Not just getting through adolescence, but striving day and night to be endowed with heavenly strength.
To become ornaments of the world of humanity.
Ornaments. That's beautiful. What qualities make them ornaments?
He lists them. Sanctity, detachment, loftiness of purpose, magnanimity, determination, noble-mindedness, tenacity, elevation of aims, a profile of spiritual nobility.
He's not asking for worldly success in conventional terms. He's asking for spiritual magnificence.
Exactly. And the imagery he uses. Becoming a fearless lion moving in the pastures of human perfection.
Strong, impactful.
And a musk-laden breeze wafting over the meads of virtue.
Fragrant, spiritually influential, subtle but pervasive.
It's powerful stuff, and it really clashes, doesn't it, with that common idea we mentioned, that youth is just about having fun, delaying seriousness.
Yeah, the idea that you figure out important stuff later.
Abdu'l-Bahá says no. Seize this moment, the springtime, for intense spiritual and intellectual growth. Don't waste it. He fundamentally rejects the notion that youth are incapable of profound contributions now.
That call for spiritual power, it carries into section 4, right? With the prayer and the metaphors.
Yes, metaphors that show both vulnerability and potential. He likens them to fledglings.
Needing heavenly wings, spiritual power, to fly.
To wing their flight through this limitless space. And also fragile seedlings.
That needs strengthening to become fruitful trees, verdant and flourishing.
It's a beautiful image. The potential is there, inside. But the strength, the nourishment, it has to come from reliance on God, from dedicated effort. It's not automatic.
And then the mission is laid out. 2 key actions.
A dual mandate, really. First, to crush the forces of error and ignorance.
That sounds quite forceful. Demolition work.
And second, to unfurl the standard of fellowship and guidance. That's the construction part.
So what is this spiritual power that enables this? Is it defined?
Oh, yes. It's not vague at all. It's defined by qualities like loftiness of purpose, reliance on God, chastity, upright character, humility, purity of intention.
And crucially, it's the opposite of other things.
Exactly. It's the rejection of glamour, slyness, the desire to dominate, arrogance, craving social status, all the ego-driven stuff.
Okay, so how do you crush error and ignorance? What are the tools?
The tools are highly intellectual and moral. It requires sharp discernment, the ability to analyze situations clearly,
To express complex ideas well.
to recognize prejudice in society, and, importantly, in oneself. And again, that ability to control one's own lower passions, because that's often where error originates, in self-interest.
And while doing that, they're also building fellowship. What are the tools for that?
Those are more about connection and community, the ability to form genuine friendship,
Listening skills.
careful listening without judgment, the capacity to overlook faults in others, that's a big one.
Forgiveness and patience.
Selfless service, obviously. And this is lovely, the spiritual generosity to genuinely rejoice in other people's success, not feeling envy, but true joy.
That's the bedrock of building community, isn't it?
Absolutely. And all this expectation, this high standard, it falls on them right as they hit this key developmental marker discussed in Section 5, age 15.
The threshold of maturity. The age when Baha'i laws become binding prayer, fasting.
And according to Abdu'l-Bahá, the change at this age is profound. The body matures, yes, but then the lights of comprehension, intelligence, and knowledge become perceptible, and the powers of its soul unfold.
That's quite a statement. Powers unfolding.
And then comes that really striking claim. Indeed, in his comprehension, his feelings, his deductions, and his discoveries, every day of his life after maturity is equal to a year before it.
Wow, equal to a year. That suggests a massive acceleration in capacity. How does that even happen? How is it sustained?
The implication seems to be that it's sustained by using that newly unfolded capacity immediately, channeling it into meaningful action and responsibility.
So it's not just a passive biological change.
No. At 15, they're considered capable of reflecting on life's big questions, meaning purpose, life, death. They can analyze the forces shaping their lives.
And they take on the responsibility for spiritual laws, for service.
And that combination, the inner capacity plus the outward responsibility and action, seems to be the catalyst for that accelerated growth. The soul's potential gets unlocked through conscious, dedicated effort.
Which makes Section 6, focusing on service, make perfect sense. Baha'u'llah's words, "Blessed is he who in the prime of his youth will arise to serve the cause."
It's a blessing and opportunity. And Shoghi Effendi reinforces it, saying, youth bear the responsibility for the upkeep of the spirit of selfless service.
The upkeep of the spirit, like tending a flame.
Exactly. It's the engine that drives collective action. And the Universal House of Justice highlights their specific strengths for service.
What are those strengths?
Things like endurance, even under tough conditions, vitality, energy, adaptability, being able to meet new challenges.
And imparting warmth, enthusiasm.
Yes, they're described as the spearhead of any enterprise and the driving force of any undertaking. Their energy isn't meant for trivial things, it's meant to push civilization forward.
Okay, so that sets up part 3, which seems to be about how to actually do this, how to integrate it all. Section 7 starts with a warning, though.
A really important one. A warning against overemphasizing spontaneity and excitement.
Why? Isn't enthusiasm good?
It is, but if that's all there is, activity can just become a series of exciting events that don't build anything lasting. They flare up and die down.
Like fireworks versus building a house.
That's a great analogy. What's needed is learning the discipline of systematic action.
Systematic action. What does that look like in practice?
It refers to the ongoing, structured processes that build community capacity. Things like consistently offering spiritual education classes for children,
Holding regular devotional gatherings.
developing human resources through participation in the Training Institute courses. It's the steady, reliable effort, showing up consistently.
It sounds less glamorous, maybe.
Perhaps. But the text argues that this systematic approach isn't the enemy of joy or creativity. It actually enables them.
How so?
It says systematic service is conducive to joy, spontaneity, and creativity, but exercised in a disciplined way. The structure channels that youthful energy, makes it sustainable, makes it effective, and seeing real, lasting results, that's a deep source of joy and fulfillment, much deeper than fleeting excitement.
That makes sense. Structure provides the container for the energy.
Precisely. And this need for structure and integration leads right into sections 8 and 9, tackling that classic dilemma. How do you balance service with preparation, with education?
Right. Because youth is also the time for big life decisions. Career, education, family, values. The Guardian says youth need to be well-equipped, intellectually and spiritually developed.
But society often presents two extremes, two potential traps.
What are they?
Stream 1, focus only on education now. Get the degree, get the career established, then think about service later.
Sounds practical, maybe.
But the counterargument is strong. This completely overlooks the unique energy, the creativity, the pioneering spirit of youth. Service isn't an add-on for later. It's actually central to sound preparation for life. You learn vital skills and qualities through service.
Okay, what's extreme 2?
Forego education entirely. Just throw yourself into service.
All action, no study.
Right. And the guidance here is also clear. No, education and developing a profession are important. They're ways to contribute to civilization, to support oneself and family. The key is integration.
So how do you integrate?
Service should be a fixed center of one's life, a lens through which everything else comes into focus. But it's not the only thing. It's about doing both, concurrently.
Simultaneously.
Yes. And this is where the Ruhi Institute process itself becomes a model. Service isn't separate from study. It's the arena where knowledge gets applied, tested, refined.
Ah, like a laboratory for learning.
Exactly. You study something, then you try to apply it, maybe facilitating a study circle, mentoring junior youth, and immediately questions arise from that practical experience. You see gaps in your understanding. That drives you back to study, but now with real-world questions.
So study informs service, and service deepens study. It's a cycle.
A virtuous cycle. It transforms study from abstract learning into practical capacity building.
This idea of integration seems absolutely central, which takes us to Section 10 on avoiding fragmentation.
Yes, the tendency of the mind to create these imaginary dichotomies, false splits between things that are actually connected.
And these splits cause stress, right? Feeling pulled in different directions.
Constantly. Guilt, anxiety, feeling like you're always failing in one area because you're focusing on another. The text really wants us to see the wholeness.
Let's look at the 4 pairings they analyze. This seems really practical. First, family and work.
The fragmented view pits them against each other. If I excel at work, my family suffers, or vice versa. Feels like a zero-sum game.
But the integrated view
Sees them as mutually reinforcing, striving for excellence professionally and attending conscientiously to family. The qualities needed for one like honesty, diligence at work benefit the family. And the quality is nurtured in family compassion, patience, enhanced work.
Okay, that makes sense. Second pairing, education and service to the cause.
Fragmentation says, choose one. Drop your studies if you're serious about service, or finish your degree before you serve.
We just talked about this. The integrated view is.
Knowledge from studies is an asset in service, and experience from service deepens knowledge and understanding. They need each other. Education gives you tools. Service is where you use and sharpen them for humanity.
Third pairing, intellectual development and the development of spiritual qualities.
The old myth, being too intellectual makes you less spiritual, or spirituality means neglecting the mind.
Fragmented thinking.
Totally. The integrated view sees mind and heart, intellect and spirit as complementary aspects of the soul. They interact. Intellectual pursuits need spiritual qualities like honesty and justice. Spiritual growth requires understanding and conscious effort, guided by the intellect. You need both.
And the last one, material life and spiritual life. This is a big one.
Huge. Fragmentation says, deny material things to be spiritual, or the opposite. Worry about spiritual stuff later. Focus on material success now.
Like spirit and matter are enemies.
Right, but the integrated Baha'i view is that life has a twofold purpose. Develop spiritual qualities and carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. That involves the material world.
So we can enjoy material blessings.
Yes, enjoy the bounties, beauty, legitimate comforts, but without letting earthly desires take hold of our hearts. Without becoming enslaved by materialism or consumerism. It's about purpose and detachment, not denial.
Seeing the connections, the wholeness, it seems key to avoiding burnout and living a coherent life.
Absolutely. And Section 11 then consolidates these ideas, reinforcing that youth are capable, that systematic action is vital, and that service strengthens both the individual and the community.
Okay, so we understand the vision, the standards, the need for integration. Part 4 seems to dig into the why, the underlying purpose.
Exactly. It focuses on the twofold moral purpose. Section 12 lays it out. Everything we do, study, work, service, family life, should contribute to two transformations happening at the same time.
Two transformations.
1, the pronounced intellectual and spiritual growth of the individual.
And 2.
2, the transformation of society.
The micro and the macro.
Perfectly linked. For the individual, the ultimate purpose is knowing and loving God, developing virtues, becoming saints, essentially. Baha'u'lláh wants to array every man with the mantle of a saintly character.
That's the personal spiritual journey.
And for society, the purpose is contributing to that new one spread out in its stead that Baha'u'lláh mentioned, working for betterment, unity, justice, peace, living in Concord.
So our personal growth fuels societal change, and working for societal change fuels personal growth.
They are absolutely intertwined. A vision of human potential drives our inner life. A vision of a unified world drives our outer action. They give life meaning and direction.
Sections 13 and 14 then give us glimpses of just how radical these transformations are meant to be.
Staggering glimpses. Section 13 on individual transformation. Baha'u'lláh talks about raising up a race of men incomparable in character.
Incomparable. That's a high standard.
And the standard of detachment passing through a valley of pure gold, aloof as a cloud, not untouched, but internally free. It's about transcendence, not just resistance.
And Abdu'l-Bahá is the example that this is possible for humans.
He's the exemplar. And then Section 14, the societal transformation, the New World Order. Abdu'l-Bahá paints this picture where justice envelops the globe, hatred disappears, war ends.
The world mirrors the heavenly kingdom.
And the vocabulary used, rolled up, spread out, transmuted, eliminated, it signals a complete fundamental change, not just minor reforms.
Wow. Okay, so Section 15 then looks at how the Baha'i standard for achieving this differs from just conventional morality.
Yes, it pushes beyond the usual norms. Take jealousy. Conventional morality might say, control your jealousy.
Manage it, don't act on it.
The Baha'i standard, as the text highlights, is to blot out from our hearts the slightest trace of jealousy and feel sincere joy in the achievements of others.
That's a huge internal shift. Blot it out entirely.
It requires deep self-awareness, prayer, effort, or take diversity. Conventional morality might aim for tolerance.
Putting up with differences.
The higher standard is to consort with all the peoples, with the utmost truthfulness, uprightness, faithfulness, kindliness, goodwill, and friendliness. Active love and connection, not just passive tolerance.
Even towards enemies. Abdu'l-Bahá said.
The stranger may find himself a friend, the enemy a true brother. That level of transformative love.
This all leads to Section 16, reinforcing that crucial link. The individual and society change together.
They are inseparable.
Hmm.
You can't fully transform one without the other. This is where that quote from Shoghi Effendi is so powerful.
Which one is that?
Man is organic with the world. His inner life molds the environment and is itself also deeply affected by it. The one acts upon the other, and every abiding change is the result of these mutual reactions.
Organic with the world. Inner life molds environment. Environment affects inner life.
Wow. It completely dismantles fragmented thinking. You can't just retreat into personal spirituality and hope the world improves, nor can you just focus on structural change without addressing the hearts and minds of people.
So the true-false exercise there makes it clear. It's false to think the individual transforms only after society is reformed.
And it's true that global unity requires transformation of both the individual and the structures of society simultaneously.
And where does this simultaneous transformation actually happen?
Section 17 gives the answer. It happens in the field of service. Service is where potential gets actualized, where qualities are developed, and where society is changed step by step.
The text gives examples, right? How specific acts of service build specific qualities.
Yes, like participating in a sustained visiting program, going out, meeting people, sharing spiritual ideas. How does that build character?
Well, you need truthfulness in how you interact, maybe in reporting back, trustworthiness, keeping appointments, respecting confidentiality.
Just as seeing the value in every single person you meet, regardless of their background or receptivity.
Okay, another example. Assisting a junior youth group. What qualities does that require and develop?
Courage, definitely. Stepping up, maybe sharing deep concepts, facilitating discussions. It takes courage.
Trust in God.
Absolutely. You face challenges, unexpected situations. You have to rely on divine assistance, on guidance.
And humility.
Big time. You're there to empower them, not to dominate or show off. You learn to guide, to listen, to draw out their potential. The act of service itself becomes the training ground for the soul.
So service isn't just doing good deeds, it's the primary engine for both personal and social transformation.
That seems to be the core message.
Okay, we're reaching the final part, part 5. This seems to connect the vision to history and motivation. Section 18 places service within the divine plan.
Right. It's not random acts of service. It's contributing to this unfolding divine process for the spiritual regeneration of the world. There's a framework, principles, concepts ensuring coherence globally.
So individual actions connect to a larger, collective, divinely guided effort.
Exactly. And within that plan, youth are seen again as this vital reservoir of capacity to transform society.
And the universal House of Justice message reinforces this. Societies fail to fix injustices. The answer isn't just politics or technology.
But a spiritual revival. And youth are positioned as the channels for that revival, that catalyst.
That's an incredible weight of responsibility, but also opportunity. How can they possibly meet it?
This is where sections 19 and 20 bring in inspiration from the heroic age, reflecting on the Dawnbreakers, the Bab's first disciples.
Those early heroes of the faith who faced intense persecution.
They engaged in what the Guardian calls a spiritual contest against overwhelming forces, ignorance, cruelty, prejudice.
And Shoghi Effendi's description of their qualities. It's breathtaking.
Spirit exalted, unquenchable and awe-inspiring. Knowledge surprisingly profound. Courage leonine, self-abnegation saintly. Resolve granite-like. It's meant to inspire today's youth.
To show what's possible.
And to frame their own struggles, maybe against apathy, materialism, social pressures, as a continuation of that same spiritual contest.
How do they succeed in this contest?
Through integrity, uprightness, resilience. Refusing to be stopped by their own flaws or others. Refusing to just pass by inequity when they see it. Taking a stand through their character and actions.
And the text brings in modern examples too, doesn't it? Like the women in Shiraz.
Yes, those 6 young Baha'i women executed in 1983. Their story is one of astounding courage, fortitude, unwavering faith, and selfless service right up to the end. It shows this standard isn't confined to history, it's a living reality.
These stories provide anchors, proof that this high calling can be met.
They demonstrate the power that comes from living these principles, even in the face of extreme adversity.
So what ultimately fueled these heroes? What gave them that strength, that resolve, that willingness to sacrifice? Section 21 provides the answer.
The ultimate driving force,
Uh,
the love of God.
it wasn't duty alone or ideology.
Those may play a part, but the core motivator described is love, being intoxicated by the beauty of their beloved.
That love transforms everything.
Bahá'u'lláh describes it as a fire. The radiant beauty of the loved one and the fire of the lover's heart will kindle a blaze and burn away all veils and wrappings, so that nothing will remain save the friend. It consumes self-interest.
And this love translates into action.
Directly. Abdu'l-Bahá links heavenly support to those whose entire attention is directed toward the cause of God, who show not the slightest trace of egotism or private motives. That purity of motive born from love unlocks spiritual power for service.
What a powerful conclusion to this section. Love is the ultimate source of strength and sacrifice.
It really ties everything together. The high standards, the service, the transformation, it's all animated by this profound love. So if we were to kind of synthesize life's springtime,
Go ahead.
well, this first unit, it really sets out an incredibly high standard for youth. It defines their purpose not by just personal goals or waiting passively, but through this dynamic, twofold moral purpose, growing spiritually while actively transforming society.
And that happens through systematic selfless service.
Exactly. Service fueled by knowledge, drawing inspiration from the heroes of the past, and ultimately powered by the love of God. It's a demanding vision, but also deeply inspiring, I think, for any young person stepping onto that path of service.
A really profound foundation for the rest of the book. And incredibly, this was just section 1 of Ruhi Book 5.
That's right. There's much more to come. Next time, we'll be diving into section 2,
Yep. Just titled
An Age of Promise. So, after reflecting on the older youth, we'll shift focus squarely onto the junior youth themselves, that 12 to 15 age group. We'll explore their unique characteristics, their immense potential, and why this specific age is considered so pivotal, so full of promise.
Sounds fascinating. I look forward to that.
Me too.
So we'll wrap it up there for today. Thank you again sincerely to all our subscribers and especially to our new channel members. Your support really does make this possible.
It really does. Thank you.
Please do subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, share this deep dive. It helps others find it and encourages us to keep going. We look forward to continuing this journey into Ruhi Book 5 with you next time.
See you then.